There's a turkey behind me, isn't there? Hi everybody and welcome to another exciting edition of Boring JavaScript. I'm your host, the Virtuoid, aka Mike Smith, and today we're going to be taking a look at the error object. Now the error object is generated by JavaScript anytime there is a, get ready for this, an error. Oh, you know, like a syntax error or out of range error or something like that. So today I'm going to show you how you can capture those errors, how you can use them in your application, and even how you can create your own. Want to see how it works? Let's get started. So when JavaScript gets an error, it throws what is called an exception. And within that exception is the error object. And that's what we're going to cover here today. Now, JavaScript has 8 different errors. You have a base error class, and then you have 7 other errors like range error and syntax error, which are extended from that particular class here. Now, they all operate the same way, so I'm just going to kind of just have one different program. Instead of showing you all the different exceptions here, I'm going to just have one little program here to show you one particular type of exception. They're all going to work the same way. So let's first take a look at one. Here I have a number, and I'm going to do the toFix method, and this toFix method is calling a -1 argument. Now the problem is here is that toFix takes an argument between 0 and 100. So of course JavaScript's going to sit in here and go, oh, I can't do anything about that. I'm going to throw a range error. So let's take a look to see what an error actually looks like in which we just let it just stop our program. So let's flip over to Node and let's type in node error and boom, shakalaka. There we go. So I got a range error. The message's digits argument must be between 0 and 100. And here's what's called the stack. And the stack basically tells you the different line numbers that you were on when that particular error called. Now I'm happen to be in Node here, so a lot of the stuff is Node stuff. Here is the actual boring JavaScript error. Yeah, on line number 2, basically, that happened. As you can tell on the screen there, yep, still on the screen. You can tell on the screen that's line number 2. So I've got the information of the message, excuse me, here. I've got the name of it here, and I've got the stack trace. So that's all well and good, but our program just basically stopped and bombed at that point. So what can we do about that? Well, I went through earlier in another boring JavaScript a thing called try-catch, and try-catch allows you to capture errors. So basically what we'll say here is that, okay, if JavaScript throws an error, I want you to capture that error so we can go do something else. So let's throw some code up there. I got some code down here we can copy. Whoops, let's go back to the very top, paste it in there. Now let's take a look at what we're doing here. Here's what we call the try-catch, the try block, excuse me. And a try block basically says that start executing all the code within the try block. If you happen to encounter an error, go to the catch block and pass along to it the error class that, or I'm sorry, the error object that was generated from this format error. From the error that was within the try block. So what I would expect here is that once we got that range error here with it using line 4 here, it's going to catch that error and we're going to have a console.log of hey, wrong number. And the ERR variable is going to be our range error. So let's go to Node. Let's take a look at that. We'll clear off the screen, go to node error, and whoop, there we are. Hey, wrong number. Great, so we captured the error, but what happened? What kind of error was it? What was the message, that stack trace, all that kind of stuff? It's gone now. Well, the reason it's gone is that we captured that error with the catch, but then we didn't do anything with it. So if we go back to our code, you can see here, all we did within the catch is do the console.log. Didn't do anything with the error object, or the range error object in this case, you know, that was passed to me. So what are the properties of the error object? Let's take a look at that. I've got some more code handy dandy down here. Let's copy some more code. Let's throw it in there. And now we're going to take a look at 3 different properties of the error object. First of all is the message property. And the message property is the long textual human readable message that says, hey, this is what went wrong. And in our particular case it was, and I can't remember the thing, digit number must be between 0 and 100. I can't remember the exact name of it, I mean exact message here. But that's the message part of the error object. The name property is the name, obviously, of the error object. In this case, ours happens to be range error. That was what the name was, and you'll see that here in just a second. And then finally, we have the stack property, which gives us that whole long list of the stack trace of where your error occurred within your program. So let's take a look at that. Let's flip over to Node. Let's clear off the screen. Let's go to node error again. And haha, we still have our hey, wrong number. Here are the details, but yep, here's our message. Two fixed digits, argument was between 0 and 100. Our name was a range error, and here's that nice, pretty little stack that occurs automatically that occurred with the error object itself. So those are the three main properties you'll get with an error object. So the next thing I want to do here is I want to show you how you can throw your own particular error and to give it your own message. Let's take a look and see how that is done. Now there are two different ways to create your own error messages with JavaScript. And the first one is to use the base error object, and the second one is to create your own error object. Now I'll show you the creating your own error object next, but for now I just want to show you a way that you can create your own customized messages whenever you want to generate your own errors. So two things we're going to take a look at here. First of all, it's going to be the throw statement, and the throw statement allows you to basically throw an error out there as if JavaScript created a exception. Like for instance, in our last video, last segment I showed you, JavaScript threw an exception when we got that range error. Well, you can throw your own exception by using the throw command. And the throw command is right there on line 15, throw. And basically it says, okay, what kind of error do you want me to throw? And I'm going to throw a new error. So I'm basically creating myself a new error instance of an error object. And so to create my own particular text, all I have to do is just pass the text as the argument. That's it. There's really nothing else. So in this particular case, I have an array of animals, and I'm just doing a click of a for each loop. And if my animal happens to be a coyote, I'm going to throw an exception, and I'm going to pass it a new error, because remember, exceptions are error objects, and I'm going to pass it with the name, hey, we do not accept coyotes at this zoo. And so now what I would expect is I should expect myself to get an exception to come up on the screen. I'm not catching it or anything like that, so it's just going to stop the whole program just like it did with that range error from the last segment. And it's just going to say, hey, we do not accept coyotes at the zoo. You want to see how it works? Let's flip over to Node, and let's type in node throw. And we got the welcome to Fluffy Cat, and we got the welcome to Fido, Mr. Ed the horse, and Betsy the cow. Whoops! Oh no! There it is. Here's our name. Our name is error because why? We threw a new error. I mean, we could have thrown a new range error, a new aggregate error, a new syntax error. We could have done any one of those things. In this case, I just wanted to throw a new error, and here is my message. So if I happen to catch this particular message, then I would be able to use the message within that I've passed to it here saying, hey, we do not accept coyotes at the zoo, to be able to throw that out to whatever application happened to use it. And then they will know to get that coyote off the transfer truck before it eats up all of the other animals. So that is the easy and convenient way to be able to create your own messages within JavaScript, your own error messages, excuse me. So how do you create your own customized error objects? I'll show you that next. So let's talk about creating your own customized error objects in JavaScript. Now, how hard is that to do? It's extraordinarily easy. Why is it easy? Because error is just another object. And if the object looks like a class, which error does, we can obviously create another class which extends error. Remember earlier I said that there was 8 different types of errors within JavaScript. One was the base error class, and the other 7 were derived from the error class. Well, if those other 7 can derive from the error class, why can't we? And so we will. So here is our new error. We're going to call it cannot add animal error, and it is going to extend the error class. And by doing that, we pick up all the different properties and all the different functions of the error, so it would act just like an error. So we should be able to throw that error anytime we want and do whatever we want to with it. And so because I've got a specialized customized error here, I can do whatever I want to. And what I'm going to do with it is that whenever this particular error is created, instead of passing to it a text message like we did with the original error, I'm going to pass it to an animal object, which we'll show you here that just a second. Again, I'm going to call the super here, and then I'm going to change the message to say the animal type, and I get it from animal type, is not accepted at the zoo, and I've changed the name to cannot add animal error. So now basically I have a new message and a new name that will always get generated every time I throw the cannot add animal error. And in fact, the message will change if the animal itself changes. So let's show you how to use it. I've got an array of animals here, same array of animals, and what I'm doing is I'm just doing a for each loop on the animals. And this for each loop is going to do a console.log on a routine or a method called process animals, a function actually, since I'm not inside of a class. Here is my process animal. Notice I've got a try block here first. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try each particular animal, and if I happen to get an error, I'm going to run to the catch. So if I happen to get a coyote, I'm going to throw my new error. So notice I'm not saying throw new error and then some text in there like I did at the last segment. I'm saying throw new cannot add animal error. And again, because I am deriving or I'm extending the error class from JavaScript's point of view, this is an error object. So as far as it's concerned, yeah, I can throw you. Here you go. And remember I said I'm not, let me go back up the constructor here. I'm not just accepting a text like the error message is. I'm accepting an animal object. And so when I throw this new error, I'm passing the entire animal object. And the object contains a type, a name, and a class property within it. If it's not equal to a coyote, I'm just printing out a little message here. So when it's equal to a coyote, ERR is going to be my cannot add animal error object. And so I'm going to say process error, and I'm passing the ERR and the animal. So let's take a look at the process error. And all the process error does here is I'm doing a switch on the error.name. So what I could do here, and of course I'm doing the case here for cannot add animal error. I'm just doing a special error message. Otherwise I'm doing, hey, I got a strange animal because I don't know what error. And the reason we do that is that we could possibly have 4 or 5 different errors in here. So let's assume that I may have an animal error for if it's a mammal, or an animal error if it's for a bird because I can't have birds or something like that, or an animal error for a reptile because I can't have reptiles. I can have 3 or 4 different errors objects defined up there and throw 3 or 4 different errors. So when the error is passed inside the catch, I can then come up here and say, okay, what kind of error did I get? Well, based upon the error.name, I got this kind of error or that kind of error or whatever. And so I can process each of those errors differently depending upon the error.name. And so that's one of the important things you want to do here when you create your own customized error message or error object is to go ahead and give it its own name. Or otherwise, it's going to take the default name of error. You don't want that. So by doing it this way, you've opened yourself up to a wonderful number of possibilities to build your own customized error messages. So basically what's going to happen here is it's going to loop through all of these animals. When it gets the coyote, it's going to print out a specialized error message. It's going to print out this error message first, and it's going to grab animal type from the animal that was passed, and it's going to grab the error message from the error itself. Remember, I have both error name and error message. I'm not worried about the stack. I'm just worried about the message. And what will that message be? That message will be, back up here, animal type of whatever it is not accepted at the zoo. So I should expect to see, warning, there is a coyote in the transfer vehicle. Oh my gosh. And then it should say animal type coyote is not accepted at the zoo. You want to see if it does it? Does it? Let's find out. Let's go to node and let's type in node animal error. And boom, sure enough, yeah, we welcome Fluffy and Fido and Mr. Ed and Betsy, but no, we can't have the coyote inside of our zoo. There's a coyote in the transfer vehicle. Animal type coyote is not accepted at the zoo, so therefore the coyote did not get to our zoo. But notice it continued onward. So although the error exception was thrown, we processed that error and then let the program continue on. So it would process all the other animals. It just didn't stop the whole process. So there's Beep Beep the Roadrunner and Flipper the Dolphin, Moby Dick the Whale, and Larry the Lizard. So that is how you create your own customized error objects. Simply extend the base error object, change your message and your type. In fact, you can do anything you want to with it. As long as you change your message and your type, pretty much any program could be able to use your customized error object. And that's all there is to the error object. I hope you enjoyed our video. Hope I didn't bore you to death. Please view all of our videos at www.boringjavascript.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or check out everything we have at www.thevirtuoid.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.